Typically in business, we are told to never leave money on the table. In practice, that means capture every dollar the other party is willing to give, right? But what if that is not a good business practice? What if leaving money on the table is actually good for you, good for the business? We already know this in our relationships, right? With dealing with friends or family, we don't think, even if it's like a transaction, because maybe you have a business and a relative needs something, right? You can provide that service. So you're not going to go into that transaction thinking, how much can I get from this person? What is the maximum I can get? You're going to go probably like, hey, what is going to be a fair exchange, a healthy exchange? And that's what Don Voltaggio, this guy, is doing with a company called Arizona Tea. If you live in the United States, you have probably seen these teas that you can buy in grocery stores, and they're priced really well. They're actually priced at 99 cents. Okay. And this guy says that he could probably charge a lot more because other similar products sell for $2 or $3. But he doesn't because he doesn't have to. He has optimized his business so that he makes good profits and doesn't have to like charge more to the other party, right? You leave money on the table. It's not that the value is going to disappear. It just simply stays with the other party, right? With that person, that entity can take it somewhere else. So we're not trying to capture as much. And this is something that this guy has understood a long time ago, and that is his policy. And that's why I think his business is wonderful. And it's an example for a lot of businesses that could be doing the same thing. You are optimizing the relationship, not the business transaction, right? And that is a different strategy. So you have to change a smart business, a business that wants to be sustainable, that wants to be resilient, is going to focus on the relationship, not on the event, on the transaction, the isolated transaction, right? So by zooming out, by changing the unit of analysis and looking at that relationship, you're going to provide long-term value, because nobody wants to be taken advantage of. Okay? It's like when you go to the mechanic and you know the mechanic took care of your car and didn't overcharge and did it for a fair price. You're going to trust that mechanic. You're going to come back to him. And it's the same with anything, right? I don't have loyalty to airlines because I know they are charging me as much as they can. Okay? In fact, they have artificial intelligence programs and algorithms to change the prices all the time, constantly, based on supply and demand, to maximize their profit, not to strike a fair deal. And there's lack of transparency there. So I'll just go with whatever airline gives me the lowest price, But smart companies, they want to maximize loyalty. They want to maximize trust. And this is one way of doing it. You want to lower friction. You want to increase trust, okay? And create loyalty. And perhaps you're not going to sell as much in one quarter, or your profits are going to be the best for that year. But if you want to be here for the long term, that is the better strategy. Okay, it's a cooperative strategy. It's a win-win versus a win-lose, where you just take advantage one customer at a time, one-time event, and then move on to the next customer. But eventually, you run out of people to take advantage of, right? So a good business knows this, okay? And I'm not saying that fairness means to undercharge. You have to cover your expenses and make sure you have profits. It has to be a win-win for both parties. But the other side of the business knows that and understands you're in business to have some profit. to make a living, right? But if you want to, as a business, to avoid burnout and to have fragility, which is the opposite of resilience, you want to have this relationship with all your stakeholders. You want to maximize your relationship, not to maximize, to optimize your relationship with all of them, not just with the shareholders, the investors, the ones that are demanding, like, hey, we want more return of investment every quarter, right? The picture has to change. Okay, we are in a transition where businesses need to stop operating from the old paradigm, where they think that maximizing profit in the short term, maximizing the return on investment for shareholders is the highest and best use of an organization or a corporation. That's not it. A corporation, an organization, it's a social entity. It's an organism that wants to have a very important role in society, which is distribution of value, and distribution of value to all the stakeholders, to all the people and entities that are in relationship with that business. So that means employees, managers, customers, government, society at large. Why some companies have high burnout? Because maybe the employees are not getting paid enough. So they don't have loyalty when they know that the big managers in the company and the investors are getting big bonuses, right? And they are not, and they are working very hard every day. So we have to have a fair approach to all the stakeholders, and that is going to create a very strong network of relationships in that organization, and that is what is going to make it sustainable and resilient. And that's why Arizona Tea is a great example. This is a great example of what not every company has the margins to do this, but many do. So why not leave some money on the table? Okay, create a stronger network, a stronger stakeholder net of relationships. Okay, and that's what the cooperation paradigm is. It's always seeking a win-win outcome in every relationship. It's always seeking the bigger picture, because we're here for the long term. Okay, for the long haul. You're a business, and when dealing with businesses, you are in an infinite game where the idea is not simply to beat the other side, which will be like a football game or a tennis match, is to be in relationship with that customer for the longest time possible. So you want to optimize the relationship and make it a fair exchange, a win-win situation. Cooperation means working together. And why not? Why we cannot work together in business too? If you want to find ways to increase the trust in your business or in your organization, if you want to start looking at things from a different perspective, which is more positive, more resilient, more regenerative, join us, and I'll see you next.